Welcome everyone to the Manage Engine Patch Tuesday webinar for June. As we embrace this vibrant month on a global scale with celebrations such as International Yoga Day and World Environment Day, we are reminded of our shared commitment to innovation and resilience. This June, let's renew our pledge to maintain robust system hygiene and cyber resilience. By fostering strong, proactive defenses today, we're paving the way for a safer digital tomorrow. We're honored to have participants joining us from around the world on this day. Let's dive into another insightful session and work together to strengthen our digital landscape. I am Niveda, product expert at ManageEngine, and I'll be your presenter today. Alongside me, we have our patch pundits ready to engage with you in real time via chat. So please feel free to post your questions throughout the webinar. Kindly note that it will be a 60-minute webinar and it is being recorded. The recorded session will be sent to your registered email IDs in 2 to 3 working days. So what's on the agenda for today's session? First up, we will have a detailed breakdown of the Windows lifecycle as well as the end of life dates for the various Windows versions. Next, we'll be discussing the Patch Tuesday updates, and then we'll also be demonstrating how you can simplify the patch management process for your network's endpoints using ManageEngine's patch management solution. Followed by that, we will also be sharing some of the best practices for patching that you can follow to perform patch management for your hybrid networks. And last but not the least, as always, we'll have a question and answer session wherein we'll be addressing all your queries. Moving on to the Windows lifecycle. If you're still running Windows 10, here's an important heads up. Its active support will officially end on October 14th, 2025. That means after that date, no more security updates or feature improvements. So if you haven't already, it's definitely time to start planning your upgrade to Windows 11 before support runs out. But don't worry. If you're already using Endpoint Central for patch management, you're in a great position to handle this transition smoothly. Let me walk you through how it can simplify the entire upgrade process for you. Let's jump into the console. On the home page, you'll see Zia's analysis. This feature is super helpful when making the move from Windows 10 to 11. It gives you insights like which Windows 10 devices are reaching end of life and which ones are ready to upgrade to Windows 11. Plus, you'll get other useful info to guide you along the way. For more details on how to get started, check out the links shared by our panelists in the chat. At ManageEngine, we're excited to share that you can easily initiate the feature pack update through Patch Manager Plus. Also, folks, we've put together an easy-to-follow guide on how to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 using ManageEngine Endpoint Central. Simply scan the QR code to watch it or check out the link we've shared in the chat. Several software applications are approaching their end of life soon. We've highlighted a few key ones, but it's important to stay informed about all outdated software running on your endpoints. To view the complete list of end-of-life software, along with their expiration dates, go to Threats and Patches, and Threats, and then High-Risk Software. This section provides detailed insights, helping you proactively identify and mitigate potential security risks before they become a threat to your environment. Let's move on to Patch Tuesday update breakdown now. So this time there are 67 vulnerabilities, out of which 2 are also a zero-day vulnerabilities. We'll be discussing them in the later slides, but taking a look at the breakdown, we see a total of 140 plus patches released to mitigate the 67 vulnerabilities. Also, if these vulnerabilities are left unpatched in your endpoints, they can cause 6 different kinds of impacts in your systems, which we'll also be discussing in detail in the following slides. So as I said earlier, there are 2 zero-day vulnerabilities released in this month's Patch Tuesday. Let me quickly show you where you can find them in our console. Let us navigate to the top menu. Click on Threats and Patches. On the left pane, click on Threats and choose Zero-Day Vulnerability. Now let me go ahead and fix this vulnerability in my system. Let us tick off the box and click on Install Patches. It will automatically take you to manual deployment. By applying all the necessary configurations, you can successfully patch this zero-day vulnerability. The zero-day vulnerability 20253-3053 affects Microsoft Windows Web Distributed Authoring and Versioning, commonly known as WebDAV. This vulnerability allows remote code execution. Microsoft warns that attackers can exploit this flaw by tricking a user into clicking a specially crafted WebDAV URL. Once triggered, it allows remote execution of arbitrary code on the victim's machine. The flaw was weaponized in a real-world attack by the APT group Stealth Falcon, targeting a defense company using a technique that manipulates the working directory of a legitimate Windows tool. The vulnerability was responsibly disclosed by Alexandra Goffman and David Dreiker from Checkpoint Research. It has been assigned a CVSS score of 8.8. The next zero-day vulnerability is 2025-33073 and it affects the Windows SMB client. This is an elevation of privilege vulnerability. Attackers can exploit improper access control within Windows SMB to escalate privileges to system level. Microsoft explains that attackers can craft malicious scripts to coerce a victim machine into initiating an SMB connection back to a rogue server, effectively opening the door for privilege escalation. The flaw was discovered by multiple researchers, including CrowdStrike, Synactive, SciSS GmbH, Red Team Pentesting GmbH, and Google Project Zero. This vulnerability too has been rated 8.8 on the CVSS scale. Now let us move on to the critical vulnerabilities. We have 9 critical vulnerabilities this month out of the 67 total vulnerabilities. We have 58 important vulnerabilities too. So let's talk in detail about the critical vulnerabilities. Let us discuss about the top 6 critical vulnerabilities now. The critical vulnerability 2.025.33070 affects Windows NetLogon and leads to elevation of privilege. An attacker could exploit this flaw to gain domain administrator privileges, potentially compromising the entire Active Directory environment. While exploitation requires some preparatory steps to be taken on the target, Microsoft has still classified this as exploitation more likely. This vulnerability has been assigned a CVSS score of 8.1. Next, we have a cluster of critical remote code execution vulnerabilities in Microsoft Office tracked as 2025-47162, 47164, 47167, and 47953. Each of these vulnerabilities can allow attackers to run arbitrary code on the system, and Microsoft warns that the preview pane is a valid attack vector in most of these cases. All 4 were given CVSS scores of 8.4. Another critical vulnerability this month is 2025-33071 affecting the Windows KDC proxy service. This is a remote code execution flaw that impacts servers configured with the Kerberos Key Distribution Center proxy protocol. An unauthenticated attacker could exploit weaknesses in the cryptographic protocol to execute code using a specially crafted application. This vulnerability has been assigned a CVSS score of 8.1. The next slide has a couple of other critical vulnerabilities. You can take a glimpse of it now. Now, speaking about the patches by impact, as we mentioned earlier that if these vulnerabilities are left unpatched, they can have 6 different kinds of impacts on your systems. Starting with 25, causing remote code execution, 17 causing information disclosure, 14 causing elevation of privilege, 6 causing denial of service, 3 causing security feature bypass, and 2 causing spoofing. Now let's take a look at the operating systems and the applications that have been affected this month. So as we saw earlier, there were a total of 67 vulnerabilities, out of which 44 have been found in Windows, 19 in Microsoft Office, 3 in developer tools, and 1 in Azure.